Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. And on this channel, I just want to make mentions that I'll mostly be reading and reacting to Kin Porsche, mostly VegasPete novels that I get from Archives of Our Own. And the story that I'm reading today is Devil's Flaw, Angel Sin by M. Minty. Not really sure if I pronounced her name right, but I'll definitely put her name somewhere in the video and also a link to where on Archives of Our Own that you can find her. And she also, or well, they also made notes about the story, and they said that this is a dark male on male romance fanfiction of Vegas Pete with no relation to Kim Porsche movie or novel besides character names. And they also said that this fic contains dark sensitive themes, and of course, if dark isn't for you, please consider watching or reading something else. So let's get into it. And in chapter 1, it's Vegas's point of view. Obsession. A deadly disease that manifests in one's own brain. A disease that, if you're not careful, can totally destroy you. It takes over every sensible judgment from one person and turns that person into nothing but a brainless waste of a human being. Something best to avoid before it totally consumes you. And if you can't avoid it, you take that obsession by the throat and consume it before it spirals out of control. And I plan to do exactly just that. From the very moment I set my eyes on him, I knew I had to have him. For a month now, this man unknowingly captured my attention, seducing me with his white ivory skin, enchanting me with his voice of a siren, his laugh of an angel, creating a hunger inside of me so foreign that it irritated the hell out of me. An unholy distraction. I just knew I had to have him. If even once, he will be mine. And then I will destroy him. Unfortunately for him, he caught the attention of mine. They call me the devil. In this lawless world of mine, the devil is king, and whatever the king wants, the king gets. And I want him. I don't know when the stranger wandered into uncharted territory. In fact, it's not uncommon at all for city dwellers to pass through and stay for months on end, most of whom volunteer as health professionals, teacher, and or construction workers in these rural, mountainous parts of the country to the small tribal communities here. What they don't know is that all these uncharted lands are mafia-infested territories, specifically mine. And so these mountainous terrains are one of many routes my operation used for transportation to avoid legal eye. So for the most part, I leave the tribal people and their ongoing guests alone. The tribal people are very aware of my operation taking place in the backyard, but knows damn well not to get involved and stay away. Incidents rarely ever happen, and I like it that way. But that may very well change soon with his arrival. These transport operations are usually left under the care of my henchmen, but every now and again I make an appearance to make sure everything is operating smoothly. 1 month ago, I took the trip up here. I haven't left since. Now, when I first saw him from afar, I didn't pay much attention to him. That is until I heard his laughter as he kicked a ball around with the tribal kids. The sound of his laugh is what I imagine heaven's hymn would be. It made my heart pound wildly, with blood quickly rushing through my veins, creating a euphoric sense of feeling. It was like I was injected with my own personal serotonin made just for me. Then I got closer and got a real good look at him. He was damn beautiful, and my you know what hardened. I knew then and there that I was going to have him. And today's the day. I studied his routine for a month now and knew exactly when and where I'm going to take him. It's the early morning hours, and by the way, Vegas is such a creep. And in most of his novels, he usually doesn't hide that. Anyway, continuing. It's the early morning hours, and I've been lying in wait with my right hand man, Arm. Any second now, he's gonna walk out of his little cabin with a cup of coffee and take his morning stroll along the riverbank. My excitement ascends, although I don't show it on my face, as he exits his cabin exactly like he's done every morning since I've seen him and take the few steps down. Yep, side note, Vegas admitting to stalking. Very much like him. But let's continue. The sun was barely peeking through the horizon, and no one's up yet, only him. I watch as he makes his way down the riverbank closer to me, where I lie in wait. I watch as he takes small sips of his hot coffee and admire the slowly flowing water that mirrors the hue of the horizon. I watch as his still pajama cloth body sway with every step he takes. Right when he makes it to the waterfall, I emerge from my hiding spot. It's time. Time to take what I've been craving for a month, to satiate this newfound obsession of mine before it eats me alive. He looks at me, confused as to why I'm blocking his path. His brown orbs shifts from me to Arm and back. He looks a little uncomfortable, unsure of what to do next. I'm sure the tribal had warned all these city dwellers to stay away from me and my people. I'm sure he's seen us operating in the background before. My eyes slowly scan his body from head to toe before I look into his dark orbs again, wondering if he's ever saw me out here. Excuse me. He clears his throat. Excuse me. This time he spoke in the Trobal language, thinking maybe I didn't understand him. His words were broken at best, letting me know he isn't fluent in the native language. He makes a move to step around me, but I take a step with him, blocking his path. His eyes slants as he looks at me with his lips slitting, showcasing his deep dimples. Please come with us. Arm spoke, gaining his attention and directing his gaze towards Arm. His face has the slightest relief when he realizes that Arm spoke the same language as him. I'm sorry, sirs, but what's going on? He asks. Please come with us. Now. Arm repeats himself. I. Uh. A little ball rolled towards us, right by our feet, followed by one of the little tribal boys running up to us. Sorry, teacher, the boy says, stopping in front of us. What are you doing out here so early? He asks. The boy was speaking broken English like he's been practicing. Is this what this man does here? He teaches the tribal kids English? It was fitting for someone as gentle as looking as him, a teacher. I'm just taking a morning stroll. The man I've been craving for a month now smiles down at the boy, showing off his dimples once again. I want to stick my tongue on his face and feel the indents of those dimples. Can I come too? I woke up early today, the little boy asks. Uh, he looks at me, his gaze unsure. If you don't come with us, everyone in this town will die, Arm said, his face stoic, emitting no emotions. Well, geez. Side note, he's definitely Arm. I suppose that's Vegas's henchman. He's definitely not letting any little kids stop him from doing his job and getting his bag every month. So continue. So Pete, The man's eyes widen as the coffee in his hand shift from the shaking of his hands. He swallows the lump in his throat and turns to the little boy who still look up with an expecting smile. The little boy had no clue what Armdra said. He probably never had the chance to learn the meaning of the word die. Cow, go back to your house. Your mom's looking for you, he says to the boy slowly so the boy can understand him. The boy did and nodded before picking up his ball and running off. What is the meaning of this? Who are you guys? He asks as soon as the boy disappeared from sight. My patience runs thin as I get to my claws in him so badly. Oh, wait, no. My patience runs thin as I wanted to get my claws in him so badly. I go into my jacket and pull out a gun, aiming it at his face. This time, the coffee in his hand drops to the ground. His breath hitched as fear laced his eyes. Now, or he will kill everyone in this town, Arm says. Oh, okay. He breathes, his expression full of fear. Whether for his own life or for the life of the townspeople, I didn't care. Where do you want me to go? Arm then looks at me and I move my body to the side, making space for the man to step forward. He stares at the gun in my hand again before reluctantly taking the first step. He walks slowly as Arm and I follow closely behind. Where to? Just keep walking, Arm replies to him. So we walk into the woods and up to the side of the mountain in silence. Only the heavy breathing of his can be heard. As he climbs up the mountain, my eyes land on his ass, a perfect shape to the curve of his lean back. Vegas, it wouldn't be him without him staring at Pete every chance he could get, huh? Anyway, halfway up the mountain, now away from the town, we come to a clearing with a road where a car waits. His footsteps pause as he sees a car. We take a car from here, Arm announces. Please. He turns to us. I don't know who you guys are or what you want, but I'm just a poor school teacher from the city. I'm worth nothing. I turn around and say something to Arm in a language I know he won't understand, speaking for the first time. He asks for your name. Arm turns to say to him, Pete. Does he not speak our language? What does he want? I'm sure it was clear to him by now that I was in command and Arm is just here to do my bidding. Name? He relieves a shaky breath. Pete. My name's Pete. Pete. His name rolls off my lips. Pete stares at me as I said his name. I give him a smirk before pointing the gun in his face again. Last chance. Go now or die here. Arm tells him. Pete's lips shake before thinning out. He reluctantly turns around and start walking towards the car. Once we reach the car, Arm opens a door and ushers Pete in. I put my gun away and follow after him, sitting right next to him. He moves his body away, shrinking into the other side of the car, hugging himself. Cute of him to think he can get away from me. Starting this moment on, he's mine. I open a compartment in the car and pull out a thin black cloth, handing it over to Pete. He looks at me in confusion, not moving to touch the cloth. I smirk before grabbing him and pulling him towards me. He shrieks out loud at my hasty movement and tries to get away from me. I turn his body around, facing away from me, and lock one arm around his waist, and with my other hand I curl it around his neck. I bring his panicked body against mine. The feel of his body alone pressing on me feels ecstatic. Not to mention he smells like the morning after a thunderstorm. My member immediately hardens. Pete's little body shook in my arm as he stopped struggling, knowing he can't win against my strength. I let his body linger against me for a moment longer and inhale his scent once more before I slowly loosen my grip. This time he doesn't move. I put the blindfold over his eyes, securing it tightly behind his back before dropping my hands from his body completely. Although Pete's hands aren't free, he doesn't dare remove the blindfold. Sit back. Arm's voice comes from the driver's seat. Pete slowly shifts his body and hugs himself once more as Arm drives off into the distance, securing his fate. Now, this, moving forward, is from Pete's point of view. Why is this happening to me? This morning, I woke up like normal, made my coffee like normal, and stepped out for a morning walk like normal. But now, I'm blindfolded. By the way, guys, you can hear a truck passing by. I'm sorry. Sometimes random vehicles pass by uh, at random hours, so it's kind of really difficult to record noise free all the time. I hope that doesn't bother you too much. Anyway, Pete says, but now I'm blindfolded in the backseat of a car by two men being taken to God knows where. Growing up in a traditional household with a loving mother and father and an annoying but loving younger brother made me feel like I had the whole world in the palm of my hands. Although we weren't rich, we weren't poor either. The normal middle class family that works hard for what we want and love and support each other throughout our lives. This was enough for me to think I had the whole world. I was raised with love and care and wanted to return what I received to society, because I was always taught right from wrong, to be a good person, to never leave someone in need behind. So, against my parents' wishes, I came up here to the mountains to share my talent. Flashbacks of my parents warned me like a lightning bolt. They warned me not to take this volunteer job. They warned that the mountains aren't safe and no place for a city teacher like me, but I wanted to come up here anyways. I wanted to help communities in need. I've always wanted to give back as much as I've been blessed with, but now it seems the only thing I'll be giving is my life because who knows what's going to happen to me now. I can only assume that whatever's going on, it can't end well. I've seen these people. I've been warned about them from the village head and townspeople. I was told that these people are not good people, drug traffickers, but they will leave you alone if you don't disturb them. All they want is to work on their illegal operations in the background. So I've done just that. I've ignored them and didn't give them a second look. So why? Why did they take me? Did I happen to do something wrong? Did I offend them in any way? But I know I didn't. I'm just a volunteer teacher from the city who signed up for a program to come here for the summer and help teach English to the children of the mountain tribes. I don't even speak their language and is just an assistant to the real teacher, though I have picked up a phrase here and there. I haven't done anything wrong at all. So, all my senses are on high alert. I couldn't see, but I can hear and feel everything around me vividly. The sound of the car engine running as it seems to be climbing the mountain higher, the feel of the sun on my skin coming through the window, the AC blowing on my already cold skin that's currently breaking out in cold sweat, and I can hear him, the man next to me, his breathing steady and slow, like he didn't just kidnap a human being. Goosebumps raise on my skin, and a slight shiver runs through me in fear. Although I couldn't see, instincts tell me that he was staring at me with those calculative eyes that are almost as black as onyx. It seems the man didn't understand the Thai language since the other man spoke the whole time. But even if he didn't, I can tell it's him who's running the show. He's the one giving the orders. Whatever he told the other man to do, the man's doing it. In whatever language they spoke, I didn't understand a lick of it. I didn't speak another word or make any movement during the ride for fear that they'll kill me. Understandable, Pete. When the car comes to a stop, the blindfold is ripped off me with and replaced with a cold eyes set of cold eyes staring into my soul. The man says something to the other man, though he kept his gaze on me. I nervously lick my lips as the other man gets out of the driver's seat, not missing the one next to me, watching my every move. The door beside me opens, making me look away from those dark, piercing eyes. Get out, the driver says. I slowly slide myself out of the car, taking a quick look at my surrounding. I can tell we're pretty high in the mountains, as there are no more trees to obstruct the view. We stopped in front of a pretty big house that towers over the valley below. There's only one paved road that leads downhill into the wooded forest of the mountain. That's where I need to go. There's no townspeople and children here for them to threaten me with. I can escape now. Adrenaline rushes in, and I make a move. I shove the man holding the door away and dash down the road, not looking back, but I swore I heard the chilling sound of someone chuckling behind me. I kept running, begging the gods to not let me trip in my flip-flops. But that was the least of my worry as I run downhill. The view of a front gate that's closed stood before me. Oh no. Four men emerged from the sides with big guns and hand moves in front of the gate, blocking my path. My run slows down into a jog, then a walk, before a full stop, as I breathe heavily to catch my breath, and fear begins to overtake every part of me again. All four guns are raised and pointed at me. Instinctively, I throw my hands up in surrender. I hear the sound of the man's voice behind me coming closer, saying words I don't understand, until I could feel his breath breathing down my neck, creating goosebumps all over my flesh. He steps in front of me, coming into view with an amused smile on his face. He tissed, clicking his tongue, and says something again, as if I can understand him. Please, what do you want with me? Let me go, I beg, as my lips begin to tremble, my adrenaline gone. He doesn't reply to me, as he probably doesn't understand me too. Instead, he comes up to me and harshly grabs my chin in his grip, making me squeal in pain. I move to grab his wrist, but he bends down and tosses me over his shoulder and starts making his way back. Help! Somebody help me! I scream, cry, and shout. I struggle in his grip, but nothing came out of it. He was too strong. The man carries me into the house, out of the sun, and up a flight of stairs. We enter into a room before he carries me over to a bed and tosses me onto the bed. I quickly scoot away from him until my back hits the headboard. I look up, and as soon as my eyes laid on him, a whimper escapes my throat and I shrink back in fear. He looks scary, menacing, and just straight up like the devil himself. Please don't hurt me. What do you want? I whispered. He smirks like he can't understand me and says something, and then he starts taking off his clothes. My eyes widen as dread consumes my soul. He wants me. My head slowly shakes as I watch him take off his blazer first before he starts working on the button of his shirt until the very last one, but he doesn't take it off. Or maybe I didn't see because I turned to my side and scrambled trying to get away. The man jumps on the bed and grabs my ankle before I can get off the bed, pulling me towards him. Get away from me! Let me go! I start screaming and kicking again. Frustrated, the man shouts angrily before I feel immense pain in my abdomen. He punched the air right out of me. I bent over, hugging my stomach, and I couldn't help the cries escaping my throat and tears that began to swell in my eyes. The man didn't care as he rips my hand away and pins them over my head, flapping me onto my back. My lips tremble and tears in my eyes fell as I stare into the face of the devil. My misery only seems to entertain him more as he stares at me with interest in his gaze. He bends down, looming over me, bringing his face close to mine, like he was about to kiss me. Before his lips can touch mine, I turn my head away. He chuckles, his breath fanning my face, sending chills down my spine. Without another word, he attacks my neck, burying his face on my skin. I cry loudly at his cruel assault, doing my best to twist away from him. My struggles against him are fruitless, and he only pins my arms harder as I try. He was rough with me, but his mouth on my skin was softer and warmer than I'd imagined. Yet I feel highly disgusted by his action. I try getting my hands out of his grip again, but instead he locks both of my wrists under one hold and start moving his other hand down my body, burning every part of me he touches. How can he be so strong with just one hand holding me? I gasp as I feel something hard pressing against my thigh and his hand graze against my belly, stopping right by the waistband of my pajama pants. No. He starts digging my hand into my pants, his hand into my pants, and I screamed so loudly I thought the windows can shatter. Please don't. I wailed loudly, not caring for anything anymore. I didn't even struggle. Please don't. I'm begging you. I've never done this before. I'm still a virgin. Please don't do this to me. Not like this. I cry loudly and helplessly. My body shakes under his hard body. Anything but this. I feel the hand that was on my waist move and the pressure on my wrist lightens. Timidly, I turn my face to look at the man who still hovers over me, begging him with my eyes to have mercy on me. Instead, this time he has a curious look on his face. His jaw tightens before loosening, and he leans back towards me. I quickly turn my head away, biting on my lower lip to keep in my sobs. I feel his breath on my skin before he spoke. If you're lying about your innocence, I'll kill you. He whispers in my ear, his tone low but threatening. A shiver runs down my spine in his threat before my eyes widen and my head snaps back to him. I understood him. He looks down at me and smirks as I realize this whole time he's been pretending not to speak the same language. He releases his hold on me and completely lets go of my wrists. I didn't move an inch as he slides off the bed and I hear him walk away. Shortly after, the sounds of the door shutting and a click of a lock follows. I released a relieved but shaky breath, turned to my side, curl myself into a ball, and just cry. And that's it for chapter 1 of Devil's Flaw, Angel's Sin. And I will say it started out very interesting. I don't know how I would feel if I was just a regular, degular English teacher living my life, and then this random man coming to me talking about he's going to kidnap me and how he's been watching me for a while and how I'm mine. That is creepy. But if you guys follow a lot of things with VegasPete universe within KinPorsche, you'll know that this is a typical everyday thing for Vegas. But anyhow, this is um my first yeah, how do I put it? It's my first reaction, or um, yeah, my first reaction to reading anything Kim Porsche and Vegas Pete related. And I'm not really sure how I sounded my first go, but nonetheless, I am completely open to getting better as I read more, react more, and upload to this channel. So I hope you guys liked it and see you guys next time.